Alright everybody, welcome back to another video. So today's video, I'm just going to show you a little project I did on our 1980 Camaro. We just put the 383 stroker in. So obviously, with any engine, but especially with an expensive aftermarket engine that I've installed, I want the ability to see what's going on with the oil pressure, the tachometer, you know, all the important stuff, the temperature, all that stuff. So I went ahead and installed, obviously, this little auto gauge, 3-gauge panel here, and it fits really good in the second gen Camaro and the cutout that's there. And these all have electronic senders for oil pressure, voltage, and the water temperature. But then when I go back up here to the stock dash, so 1980, they mandated you have an 85 mile per hour speedometer, which that doesn't really matter, but all of the other functions were just dummy lights. So light for your oil pressure, a light when your battery or when your alternator wasn't charging, and a light when you're overheating. Doesn't give you a whole lot of information. You know, where there should have been a tachometer is a pretty big fuel gauge. Now, this car only has 46,000 original miles on it. So the last thing I want to do is tear up the factory instrument cluster. So, but I really wanted to have a tachometer. So as you can see right here, it looks like there's nothing here, and that's exactly the point. So the factory 1980 Camaro base model instrument cluster like this, and many of the other second gen years, there would have been a clock here if you had the upgraded cluster. But the base model, there was nothing. There's just a blank plug right there. So I purchased a Intellitronix 2 1/16 inch gauge. It took a little bit of work, some modifications, but I'd already run the wire for a tack from the distributor to behind the dash here when I put these in, because I thought someday in the future I might want to add a tack. And a lot of people slap like a Sun Pro or something up here, which to each your own, but I really wanted this factory kind of like look to remain, and I don't think that really detracts too much from that. So I'll show you how it works. See, if I just turn the key to run, it says 8-cylinder RPM. It defaults to this programming mode until you start the car. But it's actually a pretty neat digital tack. There's a lot of cheap ones out there you may find on Amazon. Look at the reviews that are pretty junky. So I wanted to go with a good, reputable company. And the best part, this is made in the USA. So let me show you how it works. I start the car. So you can see the car's off. You can't see anything. Now if I turn on the headlights, it will dim. It's hard to see on camera. It dims 50% when you turn on the headlights. So the basic connections for this tack are obviously your tack signal coming from the distributor. You need ignition power, ground, and then there are a couple of optional wires. Like I connected the one for the dimmer light, just connected that into the dash lights, and you don't want it on the dimmer one, you want it on the parking light feed. And then also there are a couple of window switches, and you can set an RPM window switch. So let's say you wanted to have this tack control a RPM limiter on the car, or you want the tack to control like a launch control or something. It does have a normally open, normally closed output wire from the tack that is programmable. It's kind of neat. And there's a bright blue LED shift light. I'll show you here if I rev it up. You can see the shift light comes on. Obviously I have an automatic, but if I ever manually shift it, it would be really neat to have that feature. Another thing I did under the dash here, right there, see that button? Reach down and flip that button. What that will do is if I flip that button, it turns it off. So if I'm at a car show or whatever, I don't need the tack and I just want everything to look completely factory, reach down and flip that button and it's off. But for normal driving, it's on. Alright, so I just wanted to show you a quick little custom setup I did. I was able to just, you know, with some creative cutting. Didn't have to cut this, just pulled this off, pulled just the plastic part of the instrument cluster off, cut the hole a little bit bigger to fit the gauge, mounted it, and then put the wiring out the back. It was relatively easy, but it is custom. There are a couple buttons that I had to retain access to in case I want to program it. I think it turned out good. Let me know what you think in the comments. There'll be the link in the description to where you can buy the tach. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Thanks for watching. Until next time, we'll see you later.